Alrighty, we're gonna be making a platform game today, basically something like Mario or whatever. Before I begin, I have some forums set up, and the basic purpose of these forums is so you can go here and download code when I have it up or whatever. And the URL for the temporary URL for the forum is in the description of this video, and the URL is actually going to be changing. So just go to that for now, and you'll go to the forums. You'll have to sign up and register, and you'll find the code that I'm using for my platform engine. Just because I don't want you to really, well, I want you to, but it'd make your life easier if you could just copy and paste this code instead of writing it all out. So, and it'll just help you either way if you're having problems with something. So, yeah, you can go to the forums, scroll down here, and I used to use these forums for one of the games that I had made, but I switched it up here. So you can just scroll down to Game Maker, and you can go to Wizirdi videos, and it'll be right here, Game Maker GML Tutorial 27 Platform Games. And all the codes and the tutorial on how to make a platform game is right here. You can just copy and paste this code. So let's get started. I went ahead and wrote up this game, and just go ahead and copy and paste this code and do what this guide says and make your own little platform game. And I'm just going to be showing you what all the code does. Basically, I have two objects, object player and object wall. I have four sprites for the wall, for the player, and then I have a sprite for when the player moves left and when he moves right. And so we go into our object player. Oh, and make sure that your object wall is a solid object. So let's go to our player. And then the create event, we have player speed, and I gave it the value of 5. And this will basically be a variable that just holds the number 5 that we'll be using in our code for moving. So when we click left, we'll be moving at this variable, so in this case 5. So you would change this variable if you wanted to change how fast or slow your player goes. And let's go ahead and look at it in our step event. Open it up, and here's all of our code that makes this thing tick. So first we have this. This messes with our gravity. Basically what it's doing is saying, alright, if place free x y plus 1, it's first checking if we're in the air, and if we are, gravity is going to happen. And it's going to push us down with this little gravity function, and it's just going to push our character downward so he doesn't stay up in the air. Otherwise, else, it's going to set the gravity to 0. So if we're touching the ground, we don't need gravity to keep pushing us down, otherwise we'd go through the walls. So first it's saying if we're in the air, if we are, it's going to cause gravity to happen, otherwise no gravity. We're just going to sit there at the wall. So then we have our basic movement right here, and you already know what this does if keyboard check VK right. And it's making sure that there's no wall in front of us, otherwise we'd walk right through the walls. So it's also checking for solid objects to the left of us. And then here's that variable again. It's just changing our x position minus equal player speed. And again, we know the player speed right now holds a value of 5. So that is just an easier way. If I ever wanted to change the speed, I could just change that variable. Instead of going, alright, I have to change this, I have to change this, I could just change one variable to change everything. So it's often good to hold your player's speed in a variable called player speed. And you can see I'm using it right here, and I'm using it right here too. Alright, and then I'm changing my sprite using sprite index to my sprite player left, so it makes it look like I'm walking to the left. And then I'm doing the exact same thing, but I'm going right. And remember, plus equals for our x position means we're going to the right, and minus equals means we're going to the left. And then right here, this code, what is this code doing? Oh, this is our jump. Okay, that stays with that. This is saying our is keyboard check pressed VK up. And notice right here it's keyboard check. You know, that's if we're holding the right or left key down. This is just saying, alright, did you press it once? If we just put it keyboard check VK up, then we could just hold up and we'd keep going up and up and up and up. But because it's VK check pressed up, we can only press it one and thus only jump one time. And yeah. and then it's making sure that we are not already in the air. If this piece of code wasn't here, we could just keep clicking up and up and up and up, and we would just fly around the whole map. So this is making sure, alright, make sure this guy, the player, is not in the air first, and then go ahead and do this. And all this is doing is making our player go up. So I haven't got into V speed or H speed yet, and I'll be going over that here sometime. But it's just basically the speed of your object. V speed stands for vertical speed. H speed stands for horizontal speed. Really, what this code is doing is setting our vertical speed. Again, vertical means straight up and down. So I am vertically challenged. I'm a short person in real life. But this is basically making our player go up. And then if we look at this very beginning code, as soon as it's saying, alright, our player is in the air, he's going upwards, immediately this code goes into effect and causes gravity. So as our player goes up, this code starts and it just pushes our player right back down. So that's what that does. And then we have this. This is checking keyboard check released, VK left, or keyboard check released, VK right. And all this is doing is, if we released the left or right key, it's setting our sprite back to normal, so it's just a regular player. So that's everything in our step event. And let's look at our collision with our wall. And we have move contact solid, direction 12. And then we have v speed equals 0. So this is saying, alright, when you are in collision with a wall, I want you to do all this. So this is basically first thing it's doing. Well, the second thing it's doing. This right here is just making sure that we stop when we hit the wall. So that way, when gravity is pushing us downwards, we won't just keep going through the wall. It's setting our vertical speed to 0. So it's just like, and then we stop, and we're not keep going down, and we don't keep going up. So if we're moving along and we jump and we run into the wall, it's gonna hit this. So we're not gonna run into the wall and keep going through the wall. And this has a lot to do with it too. Say we're walking and we jump up and run into a wall. This is saying if you come in contact with a solid, if you jump up into it, it's gonna be pushing you back down. It actually does a lot of different things, but it's very important to have this code right here, the move contact solid. Otherwise, you're gonna get stuck in the wall. You're gonna get a lot of crazy bugs. So this is very important. Direction is just a built-in GML variable that holds the direction that your player is going, and this is just the pixels that it sets your sprite to, or your object to. We'll get into this more later. Don't get confused by it. Just put it there and work with it. If you ever need help, there's this little question mark right here. It says show help file, and you can go into this. I'm pretty sure I've already told you about this before. You can go into here, click index, and if you ever want to search a code, you can just put move / contact / all. And you can just double click it, and then you can find it over here, and this basically shows you every GML code there is, and you could read about it or whatever. So that's it. Let's go ahead and test play it. And we have our own little platform game. It works well. So you can go ahead and work on your own Mario game. I mean, this platform engine isn't perfect, but it works. It does what it's supposed to do. So, I mean, there's a lot of other things you can cover. There's slopes. I mean, going like up a hill. There's what if you want ice, so you slide around. You can use friction for that. There's stuff we haven't covered yet, but we're going to get to it. So this is just to get you started on your own platform game. You can make little coins that you run into and collect, and fun stuff. Alright, subscribe, comment, join the forums if you need help. There's a forum for that, and that's it.